Alright, first let me say all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yashai Bashim Rakakwadash, the blessings to the apostles of GMS, and all your brothers in the highways and the byways doing the work of the Most High in sincerity and in truth. Master Shalom. Alright, this is a brother Awar again with another breakdown, with another episode of Facts and Fiction. Right? The fiction is our people now celebrate Easter, right? And saying that is the celebration and not the Passover. Well, I don't know if they celebrate Passover, but they keep mixing up Easter with the Passover, right? And Easter is not the Passover, right? Easter is the god, is another name for the god of the Phoenicians, the god of the Zidonians, right? Which is a goddess, right? Which we're going to go into. We're going to bring out Easter and where it come from, and what and who they're celebrating when they're celebrating Easter, right? And we're going to go into the Passover and what the Passover represents, because our people mix it up and bring in a lot of these tradition, these celebration that don't have anything at all to do with the scriptures, right? To try to twist it, to try to lead off more of our people, but through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yashai, we are men of the Lord set up through the elders of GMS, right, to break down and to tear down all lies set up by the so-called white man and most of these Christian churches, right, because these churches set up, especially the Christians, to lead off majority of our people, which the Most High put into play, right, so he can get to destroy 2/3 of our people, because most of our people are Christians, right? So after leading off our people, the Most High is going to destroy, according to Ezekiel, to destroy those prophets which the Most High have deceived, because the Most High is the one that deceived them, right? And those people that stuck to those prophets and listen to those prophets, the Most High also is going to deceive them, because remember, the way to destruction is wide, right? So now we're going to go into the scriptures to get a full understanding of of where I'm coming from, right? And to debunk this fiction and to give you the facts of the scriptures. All right. First scripture is Acts 12, verse 4, right? Because people say as long as they see it in the Bible, they're going to work with it. But no, they have a whole lot of errors in the Bible, which we as men of the Lord were set up to reform, to go over. As the Elder Taha said, we reformed the scriptures up until now, right? And through them, through their teachings, we are going to also impart that knowledge unto you, right? All right, the first scripture is Acts 12, verse 4. It said, and when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldier to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. Now, because Easter is here, people are celebrating Easter for the Passover, right? Now, let us go into the meaning of the word Easter and see what is supposed to be there. Now, the Strong's Easter, look what is there. It's supposed to be Pashka. What is Pashka? The Passover, right? Now, the Passover is here. When I go into the Strong, it is the Passover. So, basically, the other name for Passover, or Pashka, or Pascha, in the Hebrew, right, is the Feast of Unleavened Bread, right? So instead of celebrating Easter, our people is celebrating, instead of celebrating the Passover, our people is celebrating Easter. And they're not saying Passover, they're saying Easter, right? Now, let us see what the Passover is saying. What the meaning is saying. It's a Pascha, or of Pascal here, but it's Pascha. It's a sacrifice which was accustomed to be offered for the people, deliverance of all from Egypt. Right, so the deliverance what? From Egypt. That is what? During the time of the Passover. It's a Pascha lamb, the lamb of the Israelites were accustomed to slay and eat on the 14th day of the month of Nisan, the first month of the year, Nisan or Abib, right? Of the year, in memory of the day on which their fathers prepared to depart from Egypt, were bidden by Yahweh to slay and eat a lamb and to sprinkle their doorposts with its blood, and the destroying angel, seeing the blood, that pass over their dwelling. Yahweh's sacrifice is likened to the slain Pascha, the Pascha supper, the Pascha, the feast of the Passover, extending from the 14th to the 20th of the month Nisan. Right? They don't know the real dates for the Passover yet. We know the real dates because we work from the moon. Right? We work from the moon, so we understand the correct date for the Passover. Right? Because when they have the beginning of spring, they have it wrong. It's within that time, but they don't have the correct date. Right? As we said, the men of GMS, we have the correct date because we go by the moon. Because the moon is what Yahweh Bashim Yahshai give us to tell different feast days and different days and different years, the lights, the firmaments of heaven. Right? Right? It says songs. It shall these origin compare the Passover, the meal, the day, the festival, or the special sacrifices connected with Easter. Passover, Easter don't have anything at all to do with the Passover yet. Easter don't have anything at all to do with the Passover. We're going to go more into Easter, right, to show you what it represents. Okay. All right. The next scripture that we're going to go to is Salakia. First Kings. First Kings 11. Verse 23. It said, because that they have forsaken me and have worshipped Ashtoreth, right, the goddess of the Zidonians, and Chemosh, the god of the Moabites, and Milcom, the god of the children of Ammon, and have not walked in my ways to do that which is right in mine eyes, and keep my statutes and my judgments, as did David his father. So our people, right? Our people go off from Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, go off from the Most High, the last commandment and statutes, right? That Him give us, right? And one of the last commandment and statutes is to what? Keep the Passover throughout our generation, right? But instead they go in and worship what? Ashtoreth. Ashtoreth is who? The goddess of the Zidonians. Right? No. We go because Ashtoreth is the same thing as what? Easter, they represent the same thing. Right? Let us go into that. Strong's Ashtoreth, right? It's the Ashtoreth equal what? Star. It's the principal female. It's a Aisharath. Ashtaroth. It's the principal female deity of the Phoenician worshipping in the war and fertility. Also Ishtar of Assyrian, Ashtoreth, by the Greeks and Romans, right? And then go down and say the Phoenician gods of love and increase. Now, when do you have increase? You have increase in the time of spring. And when is the time of spring? The first month of the year, the same time as the Passover. No, they take out the Passover and put Easter there to represent who? Ashtoreth, which is the god of the Zidonians is a Eden god, right? Which mean increase, because when you have increase, the time of spring, right? So this was deliberate. So when our people go to church and say, boy, they're celebrating Easter, they're actually celebrating Ashtoreth, which mean increase, because that is when you have increase, when everything is plentiful, when grains are plentiful, right? In the springtime. And the springtime is when? In the time of what? The Passover, which is the first month of the year, right? So Ashtoreth is also the goddess of love and increase, or the goddess of what? Fertility, right? She's the goddess of what? Fertility. Is the same thing as springtime. Okay? Alright, let us go into article that we pull up to see the connection with Ashtoreth and Easter. Let me get up there. Airplane mode. Select, yeah. Just give me one small second. Right. Oop. Because Ashtoreth and Easter, right, basically representing basically the sneaking Easter or the sneaking Ashtoreth. What, to mislead our people, yeah? Alright. Up. Alright. We see have who is Easter, Ashtoreth, Easter. Right? It's as mentioned, Easter or Ashtar or Ashtoreth means goddess of fertility. In a nutshell, Easter is an attempt by our pastoral foreparents to recognize and celebrate the fact that when spring comes, nature comes back alive after the long, cold, dreary, dark winter. Right? So, Easter is what everything is now fertile, everything is plentiful. Ashtoreth also represent the same thing. So instead of saying Ashtoreth, right, they put Easter there, because if you put Ashtoreth, basically you can go back into the scripture and know that the Most High is going to destroy you for worshiping these idols. Right? So, hey, I'm going to go back to show you these people wicked. So, like, yeah, let me just take this back off airplane mode. So, show you these people wicked and know that Easter should not be there. And Easter is a total different celebration, a different festival. Well, our thing is holidays. Passover is a holidays. It's not a festival or any one of those celebrations. It's a holidays. right? Our holiday is different from their festival, right? As we go into the Strongs and see that what Easter, Ashtoreth is god of what fertility. You usually celebrate that in the springtime, right? Now it's the same thing that they do. Let's see what the scripture say again. And this is plain. Because you Christians don't have the knowledge to go into the words or go into the scripture. This is why the elders them stress it is important to go into words here. Know the meaning of words, know definition. It's alright. This is Jeremiah 10. We usually use a scripture for Christmas, for the celebration of Christmas, but it can be used for the celebration of any celebration you Israelites, which is the Native American, the Negroes, right? The people in South America, right? The people in the Caribbean, right? You so-called Negroes here, right? You are Israelites. So if you celebrate any celebration or any festival or any so-called Edenistic day, right, different from the ones that was given to you by Yahweh Bashim or Shai, right? This scripture can be used for that. And it said, hear Jeremiah 10 verse 1, it said, hear ye the word which the Lord spake unto you, O house of Israel, because Moses is not dealing or talking to anybody else. Right? It said, thus said the Lord, learn not the way of the Eden, because celebrating Easter every year is basically the way of the Eden. Right? And an Eden is somebody who is not an Israelite. Eden is a different nation. Different people from different nation, different separate and apart from Israel. Right? And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the Eden are dismayed at them. Right? So the Ashtoreth, the celebration of Easter, basically you're worshipping Ashtoreth, right? Those are Eden paganistic custom. That is not of us. What we should be celebrating on the first month in the time of spring, right? In the time of gain and plenty, right? Is the Passover, right? Which is the 14th day of the first day of the month. Right? Let us go there. Alright, I'll go to Leviticus real quick. I don't think I have to prove it, but some people here you have to read it for them to know. Alright. It's Leviticus 23 verse 5. In the 14th day of the first month at even is the Lord's Passover. Right? So it's a 14th day at the first day of the month. You celebrate the Passover. And when is that? In the springtime. The month Nice Nasayan, or the month Abib. Right? So hope this video was edifying to the listeners. Right? So with that, more say praises to Yahweh Bashim or Shai Bashim Rakakwadash, the blessings to the apostles of James and all your brothers in the highways and the byways doing the work of the Most High in sincerity and in truth. Shalom.